Good morning. Today I'm gonna install axle breather kits on our Unimog U1300L. Before we delve into the video, I'd like to make a few things clear. The first thing is that we paid our own money for this kit. From the little research we did, we thought this was a good kit. I'm aware of there being several other kits on the market, but we chose this one primarily for the size of the reservoir. However, when I was filming this, I posted a picture of the installation onto a Unimog forum on Facebook. Apparently that was a big mistake, because now I had tons of people telling me various things. One guy said that it'll rust away in 4 months, that this is a bad product. Another guy said a similar thing about it. A third guy said that, hey, you should have bought my kit that's made in stainless steel. Another guy said that you don't need this, you can achieve the same thing with a larger diameter hose or pipe. So, I don't want you to take this video as a particular endorsement for this product or another product, or on the other hand, that this is a negative review of anything like that. I've been trying to be as truthful as possible about the product and the experience that we have experienced so far. Keep in mind that the truck has not even moved since we installed this. So we have no experience on longevity or functionality apart from the installation. So with that in mind, please just see this video as just a random amateur bloke fiddling about with his truck. If you are installing an axle breather kit, this kit or another kit, a lot of the stuff that you see here will probably apply to your kit too. So see it as sort of a generic axle breather kit installation. If this kit is bad or good in the future, I'll try to make another video about that. You know, maybe in context of something else too. But my point is, we've just installed it. Today I'm going to see if I can mount these axle breathers. One of the Unimog features is that it has got portal axles. And what that means mechanically is that there are gears in the hubs. These gears naturally require oil. There isn't much oil in there, 0.3 litre. That's like a regular bottle of beer, by the way. So that oil can get very hot, and when it evaporates into the breather, which is connected to the diff. Now there seems to be an issue where when the oil condensates back to being oil and not just mist, it doesn't get to go back to the hub. Therefore, eventually the axle will run dry. Obviously this is a problem, especially when you're doing long distances at higher speeds. You have to remember that the Unimog isn't really designed to be some sort of autobahn stormer. So if you are sitting at close to its max velocity on the motorways, then you can understand that having one of these gears run dry is a really bad thing, quite expensive to fix. The solution is what's called an axle breather kit or a portal gear breather kit. And what this does is that it has got a reservoir or some sort, or it is actually connecting the breather with the oil filler part. The concept is that when the oil gets hot and it evaporates, there is a reservoir where the oil can condensate, and once it's there and it condensates, it gets to run back into the hub itself. This should prevent most of the oil disappearing into the diff, so only hot air should go there, not actual oil. These are the ones from Hans-Peter Hum's Ersatzteildienst. Hans-Peter Hum's German geezer. If you're a Unimog person, then you've probably seen some of his videos of ubelix.de, his truck. Anyway, so he's developed one kit. There are other kits that have been developed. This kit seemed the most comprehensive. It's probably also the most expensive one, so I'm sort of hoping that it will be a good choice. It consists of the reservoir and some banjo bolts and some washers and a hose clip. And having a look at them, they do really look nice. However, there's a few points where it seems like they've missed a little bit of the powder coating of something. So one is pretty perfect, the other one is a little bit less perfect. The manual or the instructions consist of 2 pieces of A4 paper, photocopied. It's okay. It's in German. Mein Deutsch ist schlecht. It's difficult for me to decipher it. I would have loved to have it in English. There is a web page in English. It looks like my first web page that I did in 1994. With mint green background and custard yellow stuff and things like that. So I don't have full confidence in installing this as it stands. I've read through the manual as well as I can. I've done a Google Translate photo thingy on it and camera thingy, and yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine, but at the moment I don't have that super confidence of being able to do it without a problem. I mean, it's a fairly simple thing regardless, but I'm just saying that the instructions don't really give me that super confidence of you can do it.
I thought that the purchasing process was worth a mention, as it was all a little bit weird. Despite us ordering the parts in 2019, they don't have an online shop set up. This meant that for me to order them, I had to send them an email with which kit I wanted and where I wanted delivery to. Fortunately, they were happy to deal with me in English, and they promptly sent through an invoice with the payment amount and instructions on. This is where it got a little bit complicated and a little bit weird. They don't accept PayPal, and they don't have any other form of online payment means set up. The suggested payment means were for me to send them my card details or to pay via bank transfer using their IBAN. Since I wasn't going to email my credit card details to them, because that's something you should never do, I opted to pay via bank transfer. All in all, not a problem, but generally a little bit of a weird experience. Advertising and trying to sell a product online, but then not having a dedicated online shop set up. Not accepting PayPal or another form of online payment means. Suggesting sending card details via an insecure means such as email. But delivery was really, really quick and parts arrived promptly, and all in all, not a problem.
I always try to be as comfortable as possible, so a few blankets in this case will make a big difference to the amount of dirt I collect on my back and in my stubby hair. I then start cleaning by applying degreaser with a brush, and I let that soak, and then I agitate it and I repeat if needed. Then after that I use a motorcycle cleaner. This is usually an engine cleaner or something like that, and then I let it soak and I agitate that and I rinse it. In this case I spray it with water with just a tiny bit of washing up liquid in it. Just be careful with household detergents. They are usually salt based, and that means that they cause corrosion, so don't use them unless you have a specific case for it. In this case, I basically just want water with slightly degreasing functionality. I'm going to do this side first. This is the driver's side on our truck, as in the left hand side, in the direction of travel. The reason why I'm going to do that is because it has got better access. So I'll get a bit of experience doing that one first, and then I'll do the other one. Let me show you the other one quickly, because that one has got the steering linkage there. So if you compare that bit to that bit, so more access here where I believe I need access. So yeah, okay, so I'm trying to figure out what's what here, and yeah, it looks like Schlauch zur Achse is that one, and then 2 Schraubbolzen is that one, and then this one is Anschluss der Entlüftung, and this is Einfüllschraube. So that's where the bottom bit goes, and that's where the top bit goes, and it mounts to that one, and then it replaces this hose. Okay, clear as mud. Something like that. Okay, but you need to bend this into there somehow. Not a difficult thing, just a little bit clarification required in my head. Then it's time to undo all the bolts and remove the standard breather pipe. There's 3 bolts and the hose clip that needs removing. They're all quite stuck, and there's several layers of thick paint on them too, so let's use the force. Or violence, I meant violence. But I'll also top up the portal axles whilst I'm here. I got the vent tube out from there, that bolt out from there, got the breather hose out from there, and got the filler bolt out from there. Also filled it up, obviously too much as you can see. So there's plenty of goo in there now. Next step is to fit the driver's side portal axle breather kit. In theory this should be very simple and very easy. In practice it needs quite a bit of persuading. The top tube needs to be bent into position, and the breather and return banjos need some careful adjustment, let's put it that way. I found the top tube to be quite difficult to get into the correct position. Sadly, my metal tools also damaged the paint on it. Another slight problem is that the banjos don't really align up perfectly, so try to spend some time to get them as perfect as possible, but they will pull the bolts slightly sideways, at least they did for me. So be careful when you thread the bolts back in. They want to be misaligned, and you really do not want to cross thread the hub of a Unimog. If the banjo bolt starts binding a bit, try to back it out carefully and then wiggle it and see if it seats properly. So that's the easy side done. Those clips on there. Looks a bit wonky, but maybe just the pipe. The pipe needed to be bent into shape. Same with these ones. They're all a bit annoying to put in there, but yeah, they kind of go in there eventually, and yeah, it's all there very solidly. And if you look from this point of view there, it doesn't actually protrude anything, so I don't think it actually makes any negative impact on the ability to traverse terrain or anything like that. So yeah, it looks pretty good. One of the things that we need to do to the portal axle breather kits is that we need to bend this breather pipe so that it fits into the breather hose, then goes on to the diff. So I found that using two fairly small spanners allows you to bend the tube. And then we are doing a repeat on the passenger side. This time with the knowledge, but with the added complexity of the steering arm in the way. As you can see here, I'm not strong enough to undo this bolt without using the small percussion persuading device. A tip when doing this is to count the number of blows. That way you can administer the same number of blows when you fasten the bolt back up, and hey presto, it's done up to the exact same torque. You might have noticed that I managed to top up the driver's side portal oil using the built-in spout in the bottle. Not so on the passenger side due to the steering arm being in the way. Luckily I managed to borrow this travel syringe from Keith Richards and it worked out really well. Thanks Keith. And by now this task was familiar. Bend the tubes and don't cross-thread any bolts. Right, so they're both in now. I did the right thing by doing the driver's side first without the steering arm in the way. Because I had done that one first, I knew how to fit this one, even with the added complication of that being in the way. It went quite alright. The thing that you have to be a little bit careful about is that you need to pry all of the connections into place a little bit. Especially the breather tube up on the top, that one needs bending and massaging into place. So just take your time, don't get too frustrated. It's a bit annoying, but you can do it and it works out just fine in the end, I think. The other thing that you need to be a bit careful about is that don't cross thread the bottom or any of the bolts. It's quite easy, but I found that when it starts to bind and the bolt's a little bit wonky, undo it and try to jiggle it back into position, and that way you get it into place. Also, on the original breather tube I had two aluminium washers. They blend in to the bolt, to the banjo bolt really easily, so just be careful that they are there and double check that you don't add double washers. The kit comes with copper washers, so make sure that you don't have double washers there. I don't know if it's a negative thing to have double washers there, but I'm pretty certain that that was not the intention. Let's have a look at the installation and see what's what. That's it for this time. I know it wasn't the sexiest of episodes, but stick with us. We'll soon be into the exciting part of the overland camper build. Thank you.